Hello everyone, my name is Chase and I want to thank you for joining our graduating class today. Welcome to my Capstone presentation, Optimizing the Ordering of Imaging Exams by Orthopedic Users. This project took place over the course of 6 months in the Emergency Department at Harborview Medical Center in Seattle. I work there as an X-ray technologist and I used my occupational experience combined with the knowledge gained from my bachelor's classes to launch this quality improvement project. The goal of this project was to reduce the number of incorrectly placed X-ray orders by the orthopedic residents in the ED. Additionally, I needed to create a consistent tool that would improve order placement, accuracy, and accessibility. And finally, there needed to be an increased awareness and attention to the importance of correctly placed orders to the responsible parties, including leadership entities in both radiology and orthopedics. To begin, I will give a brief summary of HMC and what a typical trauma patient flow of care looks like. Then I will introduce EPIC, the environment where the problem was identified, and the process improvement tool launched. We will then proceed to more specific problem identification, methodology, the proposed solution, and finally the conclusion with the launch and post-implementation details. Harborview Medical Center, or HMC, is a Level 1 trauma and burn center that serves 4 states: Washington, Idaho, Montana, and Alaska. It also serves the King County Jail and is a teaching hospital that sees hundreds of residents in varying stages of their professional medical degrees. The trauma patients we see are primarily victims of motor vehicle collisions, motorcycle collisions, gunshot wounds, and recreational accidents. It's a fast-paced, high-intensity environment that utilizes large teams to provide critical patient care. The orthopedic team at HMC is renowned for their complex surgeries and rehabilitation of traumatic injuries. In the ED, the orthopedic residents are responsible for ordering all X-ray exams required for skeletal injuries, including initial imaging, splinting, relocating, and a follow-up. In order to put in all these orders, the team at HMC uses an electronic health record, or EHR, called EPIC to display, organize, and communicate patient health information. On this screen here, we can see the patient's name and other personal information. We are in the Chart Review tab, and this shows all the imaging orders the patient has, past, present, and future. Information regarding the exam reason and ordering doctor are also found here. This is helpful when incorrect orders are placed, as we can directly message the ordering provider in a secure chat and the exam can be fixed. Radiology is one of the most expensive services in the hospital. Therefore, accuracy in billing for performed services is paramount. When I say accuracy, this includes the correct patient, correct anatomy, correct side, and the correct number of views. All this information makes up the exam code. For example, this is an image of a right hand with 3 different views. The exam code is what is used by billing to identify what service was performed and how to bill appropriately. An incorrectly ordered exam can result in improper billing charge to the patient or expose the hospital to litigation for fraud. Due to the complex nature of injuries we see, it is not uncommon that we X-ray a patient's entire body. This includes the initial trauma series, chest and pelvis, with the addition of all 4 limbs. This exam takes 2 technologists upwards of an hour and is called a trauma bomb. To put this into perspective, a trauma bomb is made up of several smaller exams, each named for each part of the body, and is a minimum of 66 images. This is assuming the tech doesn't need to repeat a single image, which can be difficult depending on the injuries sustained to the patient. The patient is often intubated and is traveling with a nurse and respiratory therapist to operate and monitor the vent. If the imaging orders are incomplete or incorrect, the patient's care could be delayed, especially since nursing and respiratory usually only have a small window to bring the patient to X-ray. Our most prevalent issue is when a trauma bomb is separated out into rights and lefts for each part rather than being ordered as a combined exam code of bilateral. This act of scheduling 2 separate services rather than charging as one comprehensive service has been recognized as one of the more significant billing code errors. This process is called unbundling, and it can cause billing and reimbursement issues. Moreover, ordering 2 unbundled services where a single comprehensive exam code is appropriate is considered potentially fraudulent by insurance companies, including the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Here we see the upper extremities are ordered correctly in bilateral exam codes, and the number of exams is reduced by half. In the case that the exam is ordered incorrectly as previously shown, our schedulers must edit each exam one by one, deleting half the orders and changing the other half to bilateral. The radiology department has observed these 2 points to be the most significant contributors to incorrectly placed orders. First, there is no formal education or training module required for orthopedic residents to place orders. They learn from the previous class by example. Secondly, HMC is a teaching hospital, and as such, as soon as a class learns the proper way to place orders, they leave for a new rotation. A new class comes in every July, and the new cycle begins again. This high rate of turnover means constant reminders and reteaching from radiology on the proper way to order imaging studies. with little for the residents to reference in a competitive culture that does not like to see mistakes. As such, it has become the norm that we simply change the orders as they come in rather than inform the ordering resident that they're incorrect. This has created issues with frustrated ortho residents who either don't know the orders are incorrect or depend too strongly on us to fix it for them. Evidence of the issue has been documented carefully using the Patient Safety Network. When patients or staff are negatively affected by an adverse or unsafe condition, it is recorded and called a PSN. Location, time, date, parties involved, and cause are all recorded for training purposes and follow-up. The goal of this system is that instances can be recorded to improve points of care, reinforce training, or increase awareness of an issue to reduce the chances of it happening again. Secondly, incorrect orders affect more than just the patient and radiology. Delay of care due to incorrect orders takes time from other teams who may need to see the patient to clean them for surgery, irrigate wounds, perform sutures, or do other procedures. Lastly, the relationship between ortho and X-ray has become quite poor, with little trust between either department. The inspiration for this project was actually the following incident. A newer ortho resident was repeatedly coming back to our department and giving us verbal orders without putting in any physical orders. When we told him we needed an order in Epic, he responded with, "I have too many people to see right now, I need you to just do it for me." After a PSN was submitted and management was involved, it was discovered that he did not know how to use Epic to place imaging orders, and no one had showed him how. Our supervisor ended up sitting down with him and walking him through how to correctly place all imaging orders. To narrow down the search, I started with the task of identifying why we never got orders correctly submitted as bilateral. Ron Hebron, an advanced registered nurse practitioner in the ED, was able to show me how the ED placed orders. They have a quick list order page, which is a large collection of selectable boxes that includes the most common imaging orders. It has sections for the left and the right, but has no section for bilateral studies. This is the quick list he was talking about. Notice how each section is organized by left and right side, upper and lower. It was clear that a user-friendly option to put in orders already existed, but lacked the proper options for providers. If bilateral were an option here, providers could actually place orders for trauma bombs without needing to select separate lefts and rights from each side. Ron was able to refer me to Dr. Trivedi, Associate Medical Director and Clinical Associate Professor of Emergency Medicine, who created the quick list. Dr. Trivedi worked with an EPIC analyst on the ASAP team, the EPIC analyst team assigned to the ED. It was designed as a faster, more efficient way to submit orders in bulk and is only available to ED providers, not orthopedic users. Dr. Trivedi agreed that bilateral should be an option on the list, but warned me that it could take considerable time. This prompted me to submit a ticket to the HMC ASAP team to take care of the ED, but did not solve the issue for ortho users. After interviewing one of the ortho residents on how they submit orders, it was made aware to me that their existing ordering page was due for an upgrade. Ortho's existing ordering page is very tedious. To search for an X-ray order, they have a small search bar where they have to type by specific keyword and form, and any deviation from this form will turn up no results. It was clear now. Ortho needed their own custom selectable list, and the ED needed bilateral as a selectable option on their existing quick list. The next step was work order ticket submissions in Epic. To begin, I started broad and submitted a ticket directly to Epic's Discovery page. The Discovery page is their research and development page for comments and feedback regarding existing programs. I submitted a ticket for our hospital and asked if they could follow up with appropriate teams so our department could improve our providers' access to care. From there, a separate ticket to the HMC Epic Radiology page was submitted so radiology was attached as a department. The ticket was then passed along to the ASAP team, where it was then submitted to the Clinical Advisory Board for review. The board reached out to me and asked some follow-up questions, and after several emails back and forth, it finally reached the proper audience, Taz Khan, the EPIC analyst for the ASAP team in the ED. Because this issue involved both radiology and orthopedics, I needed to involve upper management on both sides to ensure I had the support I needed to create the ordering lists. The radiology supervisors were extremely supportive, and I passed along the request to Dr. Herbert Davies, attending and associate professor of orthopedics. He has been involved with several interactions between the ortho residents and radiology and agreed the system needed to change. He was able to pass it along to his quality improvement team, who then also referred the request to Taz Khan for creation. At this point, it was crucial to have an attending provider involved as champion in the process, and with the support of the radiology supervisors, the project now had the support it needed to move forward towards creation. Taz was able to create a new order page called ED Ortho that is selectable for orthopedic users. It features all the correct exam code options as well as selectable drop-down menus and makes ordering in bulk much faster. Most importantly, it's easy to find and extremely user-friendly. Taz also offered a tip demo sheet in case any of the residents required further assistance. Here we have the bilateral upper selectable options from shoulder all the way down to hand with the correct number of views. And here are the bilateral lower options apart from the tomosynthesis code, which was removed after launch. This is the new list for the ED providers with bilateral options available for both the upper and lower extremities. Both this and the ED Ortho page launched on February 22nd, 2023. Since launch, the ED has been made aware of the new options via email and verbal announcement at shift change. The schedulers and technologists have been asked to watch for a trend regarding trauma bombs ordered incorrectly, and with time, the new options should settle in as norm. The ED Ortho list is identical to the ED Quick list, so both providers have the tools they need to submit accurate, timely orders. I anticipate that adjustment and awareness to the availability of the new order page will take time. Since the ortho residents are on rotating schedules, I tried to show each one the new ordering list whenever they had time on shift. Each one was extremely glad to have the new system for submitting orders and remarked how time-consuming and dated the old process could be. I also anticipate some resistance to this, as there will always be those who would rather stick with what they know, especially if they've gotten quite proficient with the old method. Already, I've gotten great feedback and excitement regarding the new options from both ortho and the ED providers. Even before the project launched, several of the ED providers lamented that we should have had bilateral options long ago, and it's about time. Ortho has also made some requests to add spine as well as calcaneus views to their ordering page, which I think is a great sign. Improvements and customization for ortho was the goal, so I look forward to any feedback they can provide. In conclusion, this project successfully created a new ordering page for orthopedics and improved upon the existing page for ED providers. The new ortho page is user-friendly, faster, and will help to improve the department relationship between radiology and orthopedics. Since implementation, a similar project has just been announced that tracks the amount of exams radiology is changing. Instead of the PSN system, this new process improvement initiative seeks to track patients that have incorrect sides, wrong body part, or wrong patient ordered, and will officially launch March 13, 2023. I think the improvements to both ordering systems, especially orthos, will increase order accuracy, and I'm confident that this change will ultimately have a positive impact on patient care. Thank you.